Okay, step number one is you'll take all the batteries out of the battery compartment so that it's empty. Then you want to remove all 4 of the screws around the outside perimeter. Come on, let's go. Okay, so it's all 4 of the screws around the outside perimeter. Don't touch any of these here, just the 4 around the outside. By the way, I did something. I'm putting this on a nice kind of soft towel so it doesn't scratch the top. You might want to do something similar to that, just something soft. Okay, last one. Okay, then you grab the unit by the sides, the top and the bottom, turn it right side up. Then you want to, hang on one second. Then you want to pry the lid off, but you do it gently. It should come off, it might be a little stuck, but take it off and just flip it over to the side, okay? Now inside you've got the Pro Comp. So if you look at this, you've got sensors in F and G, and then you have a fiber optic cable here. The fiber optic cable is kind of a light gray color. It slides in here, but there's a collar. That's this little plastic fitting here. Kind of scooch in a little bit so you can see that. Okay, hold it. Okay. Now, what you do is you unscrew this. So you get your fingers on it and you unscrew it a little counterclockwise and you just loosen it. Then you pull the fiber optic cable out. Like that, okay? You disconnect the F and G sensors. All right. Now, pan back a little. Good, good, good. Now, next step is you take the Pro Comp and underneath it, there's a battery clip, all right? You probably don't need to worry about it, but you kind of slide it forward a bit. Careful that you don't yank things around. You can see these little 2 wires here. You want to make sure that you don't mess those up. So just kind of slide this forward, and then underneath here is a little battery clip, and you can see it underneath there, okay? So this thing here is spring-loaded, and it slides under this metal bracket piece right here, all right? Now, here, you look at the underside of the Pro Comp, you got the battery clip here, you got the faceplate here, and right here is a battery release button. So you kind of hold this thing in, you take your thumb or your finger and you push it in there and it'll click, and out comes the battery compartment. Now the Pro Comp is free, all right? So just set it to the side. Now inside the battery compartment are 2 what we call battery dummies, all right? They're 2 little brass units that kind of complete the circuit because we're not using this battery compartment, but we need to give this electrical current from the other battery compartment into the unit. So now you load your batteries directly in here. So there's a guide on the outside of this that shows you the direction, the orientation of the batteries. And you got to make sure you put them in correctly. So you may not be able to see that guide on the video, but you can see it at your end. So you put all 4 batteries in, all right? And they're spring-loaded at one end, all right? Then, go ahead and pan out just a little bit, Augie. There you go. Good. Then you kind of slide this thing back into place until it clicks. It might not be a loud click, but it kind of goes right back into place, and there you go, okay? Now, at the front end of the Pro Comp, you got to notice this. There's an on-off switch here, but now I've got batteries and they're supplying power, so you should have a green light, should have a power indicator on. You can turn it on and off from here now. This will become your on-off switch. All right, so I'm going to leave it turned on. Now, you want to make sure that you get these two sensor connectors out of the way. You don't want to get those crimped underneath. Along with, make sure you've got the fiber optic cable here. Now you kind of slide this thing back into place while you hold, take your thumb, and you kind of squeeze that together, and that'll clip right underneath that metal frame there, the metal bracket. And it should slide back in, all right? First things first, we want to put the fiber optic cable in. Now, kind of turn this just like that, like this. Okay, there you go, Augie, good. Now, when you slide this thing in, there's inside this opening here, there's some little plastic parts in there. Sometimes this will get hung up on that. So it has to go in enough of a distance. In fact, you can see it like right there. See, it only went in that far, not very far at all, okay? Because it's getting hung up on there. So you have to kind of work that around a little. And when it goes in properly, it goes in this far. And I think it's like, it's a little over ½ an inch. I think it's like 9/16 of an inch. So you want to take it all the way in, and it has to go in there until it butts up against the fiber optic laser, okay? So once it's in there, don't tighten it down yet, or don't even bother. Tightening means this collar tightening it. You could make it a little snug, okay? But don't tighten it down too much. You'll break off the plastic. This stuff, you don't have to do much here. You just make it so it's snug. Then you have to get these underneath this thing here, okay? And you want to plug in F into F and G into G, but the problem is you may not know which is which. If you look, let me see this here, okay? Okay. This cable here kind of roots its way down and ends up right there, okay? The other cable winds its way around the side of the ProComp over here probably. So that one, the one that goes around the side, goes into channel F. Okay, let's go back down here. Hold it right there. Okay, so you can kind of see that this will go into F. And again, plug them in firmly, but not too firmly. You don't have to smash them in there. G goes into G. Now with this thing on, now your unit should be connected to your computer and should be working. So you want to make sure that you have the connector, the cable at the back end in. You want to make sure you have your point probe connected. Make sure you have your hand electrode, the brass cylinder connected. And you want to go ahead and open up the Avatar software and see if you're getting a connection. Now, every time that you're going to use this thing, you're going to be using the battery compartment in back to put batteries in from now on, because the other one doesn't seem to be working. And I might be wrong about this. I got it. Thanks. So each time you start off by unplugging the sensors, loosen the collar on the fiber optic cable and pull the fiber optic cable out. Then slide the thing out, put your batteries in, clip the battery compartment back in, slide it back, put the fiber optic cable back in. And I'll tell you where people get screwed up with this is mainly this fiber optic connection. This is critical. So it has to go in about 9/16 of an inch, just a little over ½ an inch. And then you just snug this. It just needs to be not tight, but just snug, right? It'll hold itself in place for the most part. Now, when you're putting the cover back on, make sure, you'll notice, like even right here, it's trying to do it. That wire in the back there, see that? That thing's trying to get itself underneath things. I'm sorry, my assistant took off. But you want to make sure that that's not getting crimped underneath the side of the case, because it'll clip it. And that'll effectively, defeat the purpose of letting the thing actually get electrical conductivity to the top plate. So this thing goes down, and I can feel that wire underneath there, so hang on one second. Yeah, you can see like that wire is underneath there. You want to make sure that's not happening. So, got to do this again here. and make sure my wire is tucked underneath there so it's not getting crimped. Yeah, make sure your wire's not getting crimped because it'll cut it in half. All right, now when this thing when you put the lid on, sometimes when you put the lid on, as you're putting it down, it won't fit on there well. You've got to be careful. This piece of plastic right here can sometimes put pressure on the sensors here and here, push them down and loosen them enough so that they're not connected it properly anymore. Okay, so when you put this thing on, you slide it to kind of here, and then sometimes you have to take your thumb and push the Pro Comp backwards towards the back of the case. It doesn't take a lot, but you push it there, and then you let the lid come down, and it'll usually fit right into place. Now, you don't have to put the screws in. If you're not traveling with this, you can just go ahead and use the unit. You can see that I've got a green power light in front's working. You know, the unit's ready to go. You're not going to be putting batteries in the bottom part. Do not put the batteries in the bottom part of the unit. You know, what I'm saying is, don't put batteries here. Do not. You're going to put them inside the Pro Comp, and hopefully that's going to take care of the problem for now. Okay? All right. So I think that's it. I'll send this over to you.